Hey friends, it's Courtney Rich with Cake by Courtney. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making one of my favorite holiday desserts, and this is a peppermint Oreo pie. Now, this is kind of inspired by that pink peppermint ice cream. I don't know about you, but that was one of my favorite childhood holiday desserts was the ice cream, and then my mom would either make brownies or crumble Oreos and put the hot fudge sauce on top of it. And I don't know why this feels very nostalgic for me because of that. The first thing we're gonna start with is the Oreo crust. And this is really simple. I just used my food processor to blend up some Oreos with the cream on the inside. But you can also find Oreo crumbs just made at the grocery store, so you could use those too. 25 Oreos, ground up quite a bit. And then I have our pie crust. And this pan, this dish, is like, I don't know, 8 or 9 inches. We are going to bake this crust for a little bit, and then we're gonna make our filling. So to make the crust, Oreos and butter. Like so simple. I have tried this with the store-bought Oreo crust. The only problem with that is that the crust is just not very thick, and I want a lot of Oreos in my crust. I want to taste a lot of the Oreos in this. I just think they balance the peppermint so nicely. So I like making the crust, but you can totally save a little time and buy the store-bought. Just know it's not gonna kind of have that same wow factor with the Oreos as the homemade version. Let's pour that into the prepared dish. And now we just want to spread this out and firmly press it into a crust. It needs to be firmly pressed, nice and tight together, because that will make cutting it later a bit easier. Once it's spread out pretty evenly, to get it nice and firm and up the sides, I will just use my hand. And I think the glove does a good job helping it prevent it sticking to my hand as I do this. You can kind of see how as I'm pushing down in the center to even that out, it starts to push it up the sides. Again, can you see how tight that's getting? We really want that to look like kind of a smooth pie crust, even though it's Oreos. And I'll even kind of flatten out the top with my finger here as I press it on the sides. It's just gonna cut so much nicer and easier if you take the time to just go ahead and spread that out. This is gonna go into the oven for just a little bit. We'll get started on our filling, and also we're gonna make a ganache that we're gonna pour on top of the crust. Just a little extra chocolate, because why not? So let's go ahead and bake this and get started on the filling. So we're gonna start by making some whipping cream, using some heavy whipping cream. And if you wanna make sure it's nice and stable, you can add a little easy gel. But by the time we're adding the cream cheese element of this, it's gonna get pretty thick. But if you feel like you have to store this for a while or transport it during your holiday parties, I would say just grab like a tablespoon of easy gel and add that to the whipped cream. But right now we just wanna get some stiff peaks, so let's get at it. So here's our whipped cream. You can see it's stiff peaks. It's not gonna fall out, right? Okay, so we're good here. Move that to the side. We're gonna grab a different bowl. We're gonna add all this cream cheese. It's like a full block, so 8 ounces here. Get that in. Full fat, people, okay? Full fat. Don't go for low fat cream cheese. When we're baking, we want that fat. We want the extra creaminess to it. All right, there we go. To that, we're gonna add our powdered sugar. Get a little bit of this. And we've got peppermint extract. And in just a minute, we're gonna add a little bit of red food coloring. We kind of want it to be pink. You can get pink food coloring, or sometimes just easier to find red. A little bit goes a long way. So let's mix this up. Oh, a little messy. So we've just sweetened the cream cheese by adding all that powdered sugar, but you can see it's pretty dense. We're not just gonna throw that into the pie crust. Would not be enough. We're gonna add the heavy cream to it and fold it in. But before we do that, let's add, oh my gosh, there we go. That's like 10 pounds. We're gonna add just a little bit of red food coloring. Oh, yep, that's like it. Well, that came out kind of fast. So that's all we need. One little drop. That's gonna go a long way. It's gonna look darker in here, so don't panic. We're gonna lighten it up once we add that whipped cream to it. and just make it a little bit lighter, just really to make it look like that peppermint ice cream that is so yummy during the holiday season. Now let me grab a spatula and we're gonna fold our whipped cream into our cream cheese mixture. So all of this, it just really lightens that texture, kind of feels like an ice cream pie. You wanna make sure no streaks of that whipped cream remain. So make sure you get that all incorporated so it looks really smooth. And then we wanna add our peppermint candies and we're gonna mix that in. Again, just folding it in. I made a little ganache with some chocolate chips and heavy cream. And this is gonna be the yummiest little layer of chocolate. And that chocolate will set just a little bit too. And if you want it to set quicker, you can throw this in the freezer. But we're gonna get ready and just put our whipped cream cheese peppermint filling right on top here. Isn't that the cutest pink color? Doesn't that make you so happy? I know, I love it. Let's get that. And we can just grab a spoon and just spread that out. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is just whip up a little bit more whipped cream and put it in my piping bag to make just a cute design around the top. And then this can just be stored in the refrigerator until you're ready to eat it. I actually think you don't wanna serve it right away. You want this filling to set just a little bit more and get nice and chilled as well. But this one is great coming right from the refrigerator. So I just made a little whipped cream, a little powdered sugar, you'll see it in the recipe. And then I've got my silicone piping bag with the Wilton 1M tip, which is just a cute star tip. And we're gonna do a little braided border around the edge. So always remember, tighten up top here with your thumb. So you're gonna lock it there and then you'll apply pressure with your fingers. So we're gonna start kind of pushing the piping bag towards the edge and then you bring the piping bag in towards the center. So at a slight diagonal. And then we're gonna cross over kind of that bottom spot of that piping area. Just a little crisscross and it ends up looking like a little braid. So let's get a good close-up. Remember, keep your hand kind of lifted as you're doing the piping. You don't wanna smash the piping bag into the pie. You kind of wanna keep that lifted so it looks really just fluffy. It's a little zigzag. Tuck that in, there we go. Let's take a few of our peppermint candies and we'll just sprinkle them on top, just a little dusting. Maybe a little bit in the center too. How cute is she? Come on, that's gonna be a fun one to make for the holidays. Now, typically, you're gonna let this sit in the refrigerator for a little bit because we want that to be set on the inside. It's gonna cut so much cleaner, but we're not gonna wait for that right now because I'm dying to dig in. Okay, so you can tell it's a little bit soft right now, but having it in the fridge for a little while is gonna help that so much. So I gotta have a bite of everything with the whipped cream, the filling, and the Oreo crust. Oh, it is so good. Not too much peppermint, good texture with the candy, the Oreo. I mean, chocolate and peppermint always work. I love the whipped cream in this filling because it really lightens the texture. We have a good decadent crust with that ganache underneath it. So having the lightness of the whipped cream and the whipped cream in our filling is such a beautiful blend. Like, it doesn't feel overwhelming. It doesn't feel too heavy. You are going to go nuts for this. I cannot wait for you to make it. Grab the recipe with the link below in my caption and enjoy. Can't wait to hear what you think. I'll see you next time. See you, friends.